Today we are going to do one very provocative theory of mind and brain put forward by Sheldrake. In his book Science Set Free, he makes very unconventional and unorthodox proposals which science has so far not accepted. So we are covering Sheldrake not because it is found to be true, but it is found to be a way of looking at diverse religious and philosophical phenomena. So this one may not be true. May not be true. But that's definitely an interesting way of looking at things. An interesting way of looking at things. His main proposal is that mind is a field associated with the brain. Mind is a field associated with the brain. Mind is not confined to the skull. Like magnetic field is not associated with the is not confined to magnet, and gravitational field is not confined to earth. Mind is a field associated with the brain, but beyond the skull. What is a field? Field is nothing but space that is transformed, which has energy. See, magnetic field is the space transformed and it can deflect iron pieces. So, mind is outside, and then there is another brain. And there is another. So, minds are outside the brains, are not confined to the brains, and minds connected. So, there is, according to Sheldrake, a collective mind. And collective, or you say common mind. And in this mind, data is stored. Mind is some kind of processing of the data. So there is collective memory, collective consciousness. So this is the idea taken up by Buddha. Jai Krishna Murthy. That there is a collective mind, collective consciousness, collective memory. They are right if you propose that mind is not extended to brain. So how does this work? It works something like this. We put some data in our personal computers and some on servers. So some data within the skull and some data outside. And what we put on the servers can be accessed by us, but it's not only by us, but others also can access. So what we do transforms the collective mind. How is Wikipedia being edited? You make certain changes, and somebody else uses them. He changes. So what you do transforms the collective mind. Your action can transform collective consciousness. So it means we are all connected. We change the common, and the common changes us. It's a religious idea. But Sheldrake is saying the basis of this is mind not being confined to the brain. Normally, that is traditionally, mind is associated with only the brain, and mind is said to be confined to the skull. But Sheldrake is saying something different, and with that, this can be explained. So, what happens after death? According to Sheldrake, only the brain dies, but the memory that is put with the help of the brain in the common field doesn't die. When your personal computer collapses, your email data doesn't collapse, or your editing of Wikipedia doesn't. So what is stored in the collective still stays, and somebody similar to you can access it. Who can access from the collective, or whom the collective influences, is based on the similarity, which Sheldrake calls morphic resonance. What is there in the collective transforms some individuals and not all others. It's based on a similarity. Calls it morphic resonance. Morphic resonance. You take your data through a password using your account. Password is what you have created. But in nature, people take our input to the collective based on some similarities between the collective and the individual. So, if rats transform the collective, other rats get benefited. If humans transform the collective, humans get benefited. And within the humans, similarity again matters. So, accessing and storing of the data is explained by Sheldrake through this phenomena of morphic resonance. Sheldrake explains certain scientific studies using his theory. For example, study on rats. It is found if Harvard rats learn a new technique in certain time, Australian rats take less time to learn the same technique. Why so? Because Australian rats, the technique is not completely new. Because their consciousness got affected. Rats somewhere affected the collective, and the collective affected these rats. And Sheldrake says that there is a lot of evidence to show about this behavior of rats. He also says about crystal formation. If new substances take certain time to become crystals at one place, then at some other place it will take less time. Some connection. So the whole thing is an energy field with incredible connections. That's what Sheldrake is saying. Next, he is making one more proposal. We know that historically man has inquired that how is tree coming from a seed? A seed, and how big tree comes, or from an egg, how a chicken comes, or a zygote, how a human being comes. Science answers that genes were there before, and genes multiplied, differentiated, and from one single single cell, the entire human being is created. Like this. But Sheldrake says this is not the way it happens. Says that tree is not inside the seed and human being is not inside the zygote, but rather the collective memory, the collective transforms the seed into the tree. The collective guides the seed to become a tree, egg to become chicken, and human zygote to become human being. So he's saying that the change is transcendent. And not immanent. That is, it's not coming from inside, but being externally guided through fields by the collective consciousness of that particular species. So that's again a completely new way of looking at things. And Sheldrake says that it is not simply the connections between the individual and the collective, but the individual minds also can be connected. Mother's mind and child's mind may be connected. And once they are connected, what is happening in one mind may be revealed to the other mind, which is nothing but telepathy. So mother will know, for example, when her child requires milk, even when mother is not near the child. So when the two minds are closely connected, a kind of merged, then what goes on in one mind will be known to what goes on in another mind, will be known to the other mind. Because he says they are not separated, they get merged. One experiment he quotes, which is similar to this phenomena, is experiment on particles. Say, for example, this is one experiment acceptable in science. Two electrons which have been paired before, or two electrons with different spins, if they are separated, and using a thought experiment, if you take one electron at one end of the earth and the other electron to the other end of the earth, and if you change the spin of one electron, the spin of another electron is changing, and the change is taking place almost instantly. Okay. So it is not that spin is changed here and the message is going to the other electron. No. That message happens to be, if that is a message, that happens to be going at a speed faster than light. So scientists' conclusion is that those two particles are somehow connected, and when they are separated, simply the field is being stretched. The field is being stretched. They are not separated. So the field is being stretched. Like in the case of electrons. These are called entangled particles. When you separate them, only the field gets stretched, not separate. Connections are not severed. Like entangled particles, they can be entangled minds, which explains telepathy. Like electrons are connected, minds can be connected. So these unusual things like telepathy, how man is coming from zygote, and how collective memory is constituted, collective consciousness are constituted, is explained by Sheldrake through explanations, through ideas which have not yet been accepted by science. Extending Sheldrake's ideas, one may even understand things like karma, rebirth. We're extending it. How does this work? It is something like this. A man dies now, but part of his memory is in the collective consciousness. And it guides a zygote which is similar and brings it up. That's called rebirth. And what is karma? A man dies now, a part of his memory is in collective mind. But what is the quality of that part of memory? Maybe poor quality, maybe high quality, evolved. If it is evolved, then the next birth starts at a higher level, otherwise at a lower level. So what is of interest here is that Buddha said no God, or silent on God, no heaven and hell, but believed in rebirth, believed in karma. He believed in rebirth in the sense that the consequences of our actions flow across births. Sheldrake's theory can explain that. You leave some memory, and the quality of the memory of this birth will influence the base of the next birth. That's how the consequences are flowing across the births. And what is rebirth? It is that memory shaping another life from a new zygote. We need not, of course, believe all these things. These are not the things that science has confirmed. But Sheldrake is giving a way of looking at diverse phenomena, and the idea that mind is an extended field and it is connected. The whole thing is full of energy and interconnectedness. No God, no heaven, no hell. But these connections are what make life more mysterious. J. Krishnamurti said that if 10 transformed individuals can transform the whole mankind through transformation of the collective consciousness, so that was his theory. And of course, Sheldrake had discussions with Krishnamurti. I don't know to what extent Krishnamurti was influenced by Sheldrake, or other way around. But definitely, Sheldrake gives us an interesting way of looking at it, and I think we should be open to the possibility of interconnectedness of life.